Americans and other friends and subscribers from around the world. Back again. We're having a cooking day. Me and Cara, we decided that we were going to spend a day and just cook a bunch of stuff and then split it up and stick it in our freezers and have a week's worth of meals.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to watch what she's making, it's in the pressure pot right now and it's going to be white chili. I am making spaghetti. So if you want to see what she's watching, you need to go to her channel to watch it. So she's got her spices and things laid out here, and I am browning my meat, and that's how I start my spaghetti. So I don't think you want to watch hamburger brown. Oh, I guess I should say in here is hamburger and sausage, because I like sausage in my spaghetti. So we're going to let that brown up and drain off the fat and go from there. Meat is draining off the fat here, and I didn't think about it, but this is the first time you've seen my makeshift kitchenette out here. So welcome to the kitchenette. And to new viewers, if you don't know about our channel, we live semi-off-grid, and you can go back on some of the other videos if you're interested in our journey. But this is under construction, that's why you see insulation and plastic. This is our first winter being able to use this building as a cook shack, so I just wanted to say that real quick. So the meat's draining off the fat, and Cara's chicken is done, so we're going to jump to our next step of doing our vegetables. We are getting our vegetables together, so I'm going to chop up my vegetables for the spaghetti first, and the vegetables I'm going to put in today will be celery, onions, garlic, and morel mushrooms. So I'm going to do my fresh vegetables right now. The morels are some that we picked last season, and I dehydrated them. So those ones I don't have to prep. I just have to put them into the pot. And if you notice, I've already cleaned off the dirty ends and the dry ends, but I've left all of the leaves, and that is actually one of my favorite parts of the celery when I'm cooking, is the leaves. They are so flavorful in spaghetti, any soups, any of those. They just have a really nice celery flavor. Kind of like parsley, fresh parsley. And I don't get crazy with trying to keep the sizes of my vegetables the same in something like this, because it's going to simmer, so everything is going to get cooked. So I'll just do a rough chop. Basically, I've got a little bit of butter in the pan over here to saute those up some. And I wanted to show a trick with the garlic. There's so many different methods to peeling garlic. All of them are a pain in the butt. One of the ways, oh, that was weird. I had this knife over on my magnet, and it pulled that's carbon steel. And when I picked this up, it was sticking to it. Yeah, was to use the side of my knife and press down. And I noticed, watching Cara peel hers, that's how she did it. The way I taught her growing up. This is a new method, so I'm going to teach her too. So I've taken it off the clove, and here's the root end, so I just put that down on something hard and push down, and it just pops it off like a dream.
Fancy.
One more time. Do it one more time. And it works best, the smaller ones, the really tiny ones in the center don't work too well, and neither do the super large ones. For those ones I'll use the side of a knife. Then I just grab it down there at the root end and pop it right off. And I don't remember where I saw that trick, but it really works good. So I got to teach you something too, huh? Like that. I got a bonus clove in there, bonus toe. Call that my Tevin. Extra toe. Extra toe in there. And I'm not getting, when I do it that way, I'm not getting the sticky on my finger. Because normally when you peel garlic, you get that sticky on your finger. And after the second or third toe, your fingers are so sticky that you can't do it, because every time you touch a husk, a peel, it sticks to your finger. And that just like cracks it open like a pecan or something. Nice, huh?
Super nice.
Yeah, it looks really good. Putting all my scrapings into the bag there for the pigs. Let them enjoy some freshness too. So I got about 4 pounds of meat on this batch I'm doing. 3 pounds of ground beef and 1 pound of sausage. And you can pick any kind of sausage you like. Italian sausage, of course, is really good for spaghetti. I didn't have any Italian sausage, so I used just a breakfast sausage. And it just has a little bit of flavor, and the mixing of the meats are nice. Get my onions peeled up here. Lots of techniques for peeling onions too. I remember when I was young learning how to chop onions. It was very intimidating, because onions, you know, the layers, everything splits apart from each other.
They make me cry.
They make you cry.
I'm a baby when I cut onions.
Yeah. Well, I kind of got conditioned. When I was young, the ladies in the family would get together and buy 100-pound bags of onions. The families would each get their own 100-pound bags of onions. Then we would get together and process them. We would just peel them, chop them, put them in, at the time it was just sandwich bags, the fold-over sandwich bags. You put a cup, 2 cups, whatever portions you want to use, in a sandwich bag and fold it up, and then put it in another sandwich bag and fold that up and pop it in the freezer. And I still do that to this day. I still do that. Then when you need some onions, you just go to the freezer and you've got chopped onions. So doing that, I was able to condition my sinuses and my eyes and everything. Every once in a while I'll get a really strong one that'll still tear me up, but onions don't tear me up anymore.
I cry like a baby.
Yeah. Even if you're not the one chopping?
Yeah, I can feel it over here.
Yeah, you can? Can
Yeah.
you? Okay, do another rough chop of these. Get rid of my skins.
Get one. Oh no, that was... Never mind.
And again, I'm not going to get crazy on the sizes of them. Just doing a chop. This is going to simmer. Everything's going to cook. Sometimes you use onions for a vegetable. Sometimes you use them for spice. If they're spiced, you just cook them down. You want the flavor. It's not so much that you're looking for a big chunk of onion to be in something, to chew it up like a vegetable. So, if I was making onion rings, or something where I wanted consistency in the size, I might take a little bit more time in the chopping. This knife style, I don't even know what they call this style. Do you?
No, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, this came in my new block that I picked up at the thrift store. And I wasn't sure I would really like that style, but I'm kind of digging it.
Well, it works really good for cheese, too.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, I don't know. I guess I need to do a little bit more cheese cutting with it before I say yay or nay. I kind of thought it was a little thick. I was using that one.
I think it's the divots in it.
I was using that one
Oh, yeah,
for
that one probably
cheese.
looks good.
The only reason I didn't like it is because I had to go off the edge
Oh,
of the
yeah.
counter.
I think it's the divots that make it nice for that one with the cheese. So it can breathe while you're cutting it.
Right. Right, so it can like separate it from the block.
Yeah.
Garlic. I'm just going to give it a couple slices this way, depending on how thick it is, will I cut it in half. The garlic, I don't know if everybody is cooking with fresh garlic out there, but the way you put it into your dish determines whether it's a bold garlic flavor or a sweet garlic texture. If I'm doing something like tacos or chili or spaghetti, I'll give it, I wouldn't call it minced, more of a chop, because I'm not trying to get it super small. So I've got some big chunks in there and little chunks in there. And that gives it a really nice flavor in the pot. So I'm going to let the vegetables saute for a little bit, maybe 5 minutes, and then put the meat in. Got my vegetables here all sauteed up nice. And it's time to put the meat in with the vegetables. Get that put in there very carefully like. Get them stirred up together, and then it's time to put in the tomato products. I am ready for the tomato products, and it does not matter what kind of tomato products you use. Sauce, puree, crushed, diced, whole. If you have fresh tomatoes, you can even use fresh tomatoes. So I try to keep all different sorts of tomato products on hand, but sometimes I don't have a good selection. So today I am going to use a traditional Hunt's sauce as my base. And I have 2 cases of the whole peeled tomatoes. So I'm going to use those, and then paste. And I'll use a little bit of the liquid out of one of the cans. I don't know yet. I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to use. But the paste will thicken that up. So I'm going to start with this as my base, and I'm looking at the amount of meat I have in my pan and the size of my pan, and normally I would want to have more sauce than what I'm going to be able to fit in this pan. And it is our plan to have meals frozen, so this is something that we can mix up now, and then when we pull it out to cook it, we can add more to our dish, more sauce, if we feel like it's too meaty.
I like it meaty too, though.
Yeah, I do too. I guess I don't have my scraper there. Okay, and if you've never used whole peeled tomatoes, basically it's just like a canned tomato. When you can them yourself, you blanch them, strip the skin off, and then can them. So this is just like a Roma type tomato that's in here. Sometimes with these cans you'll end up with a top that has the peel still on it like that, so I just set that aside. And I just do a quick chop in the palm of my hand. And I'm not going to film this whole process, but I'm going to do as many of these as I need to make my sauce in the pan here. So
till it looks right.
yeah, I will show you what looks right. Okay, as you can see, no matter how much experience you have cooking, every once in a while you do things like this. That is way too much for this pot, so I'm going to have to be really careful. I ended up putting in 1, 2, 3, there's a 1 in there, 4, 5, 6 cans of the whole tomatoes, and there's only 1 can that I didn't use the juice out of. And each one has about that much juice. Okay, so what I'm going to do, that's all that's in here right now, is the 1 base of the Hunt's, and then the 6 cans of whole tomatoes. And it made a mess. I cleaned up the counter here and everything. And if you're doing tomatoes like that, it's really good that if you have any kind of paper cuts or anything, to wear gloves, because that acid will really hurt bad. So right now I'm just going to put in 1 can of paste, because this is super watery, and then I'm going to simmer it. And then if I need to put another can of paste later, I will. And I've got a trick here on the paste, because if you've ever used tomato paste, you know what a pain it is to get it out. So I cut open there. And then they started making these new style of cans. This one here luckily has a different lip, but you can still use your can opener on it. And you can, sometimes it'll work with just a couple air holes, so you can just pop a couple air holes in. Sometimes you have to actually cut the whole bottom of the can.
That works good on canned beans too.
And I also do this type of thing with the pouched meat that you get, where it's got the staples on both ends, sausages or hamburger or whatever. Cut one end off and then cut a hole in the opposite end that you're going to squeeze from. Okay, so I got that cut. Get this lid off. Give it a couple shakes. I can hear it starting to come. There's that part. Now I got the only half of it came out. That's annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and twist the rest of this. Whoop! That's going to fall right in there.
Maybe.
I'm glad I didn't do that over the pot, because the paper's coming off too. Slippery little guy. He just wants to jump off the counter, doesn't he?
Need one of those knife-shaped rubber spatulas.
So then you get that and cut. Piece of paper. Push it straight down. Boom!
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Okay, so I got my tomato products in. I'm going to put it back over on the burner and add some spice. Spice time. Okay, so instead of just putting it into the pot with my back turned to you, I'm going to put the spice into the bowl and then put it in. So I'm going to start with oregano and basil and parsley. This is curry, bulk out of Winco, and the curry that I choose, curry is just a mixture of spices. The base spice is turmeric, but the curry that I always choose has fenugreek in it. And once you identify that smell and flavor, you'll know instantly if your curry has fenugreek in it. And that is the only curry that I buy and use. And celery salt. I use celery salt because I couldn't find just ground up celery seed. And I'm missing, right here, coriander. Coriander is one of my favorite spices. So for that size of pot, I'm going to go ahead and do probably 2 spoons of oregano. A scant of parsley. Basil. I'm going to match the amount of basil as I did the oregano. So I'll do 2 scoops of that. Coriander. Be about the same as the parsley, just a scant one. And celery. I've got a lot of celery already in there, but I still like the spice celery. So that's, for that size of pot, that's not very much celery. Like I said, I already have fresh celery in there. Coriander. And then curry. Curry, that size of pot. I'm going to start with a heaping, and then at the end, after this is simmered down, I will taste it and then decide if it needs more of the
oregano.
I was going to say origami. Oregano, basil, curry, all those. I'm going to put those in, stir it up, and let it simmer. And after it's simmered for a while, I'll bring you back in and show you how it's looking.
Here, I'll get a film of that.
This is the real talent, is stirring the pot this full. And then I'm going to put the without slopping it everywhere.
Looks yummy.
It smells good too. And the beans here are just about done. So you're going to have to go check out Idaho Mountain Girl to see how their chili turned out. Almost made a mistake. Almost didn't put the morel mushrooms in. This is where we put the dried mushrooms in, is when it's simmering. And that will actually soak up some of my sauce. So I put them straight in, dried. I don't reconstitute them for this. Any dishes where you've got liquid, lots of liquid, you don't have to reconstitute them before you put them into your dish. So if you see here, we've got some beautiful dried morel mushrooms of all sizes. And I kind of like about this size, maybe that size. They will puff up just a little bit. So I'm just going to use my fingers and break them into the size that I want them to be. And I've actually been craving some morel chowder. Just a nice chowder that's kind of like a fancy cream of mushroom soup. And I might have to do that here soon. This is, we had a bad morel year in the season of 2021. So you see here on the bag, this says 2020. We had a phenomenal year in 2020, thank goodness. And I'm getting low. I've been pretty stingy with my morels this year. So I'm not sure if I really want to use them up in a cream of mushroom soup, but it does sound really good. Maybe I'll wait until the beginning of morel season, and if I feel like it's going to be a good season, I'll take one of my old bags and just make it up into a cream of mushroom soup. Okay, a pot that size, I'll probably fill this bowl and put those in. Got them all ready to go in. Just had to show them putting them in. Spaghetti has been simmering for a good hour at least. I didn't really time it, but it's looking really, really nice. I want to show the reconstituted. I'm going to put it on the spoon and bring it over to you so you can see it up close. The reconstituted morels in here. There's a nice one. There's a nice one right there. Ooh, yum.
Oh, yeah.
Big chunk of garlic. Yeah. Nice tomato. So it is done. I've taste tested it. Spices are good. The very last step, secret ingredient, brown sugar. It's pot this size. I'm going to do 2 spoons. Doesn't require a lot, but that sweetness balances out the acid of the tomatoes and completely changes the flavor. Completely. Stir this up and it would be ready to put over noodles and eat however you like. Since we're doing meal prep for the week, I'm going to let it cool completely and then we'll transfer it into our freezer storage containers and be done with it. This is not quite done. Do you want to know what this is? You'll have to go over to Idaho Mountain Girl and check it out. We're excited. Excited about both of them.
Excited to eat it for the next couple weeks.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us today and watching us do some meal preps. We've enjoyed having you here. It was a great way to introduce you to my new kitchen space. So thank you, Cara, for coming over.
Anytime.
And doing this with us. It was fun. So good Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
We'll be back again tomorrow. See ya.